All right, if you've considered a career on the water, you need to get your captain's license. In this video, we're going to break down exactly the how, why, what, and where about your captain's license. Here we go. All right, so that was close. There were a bunch of mullets sitting on a rock over there. I had to throw just on the inside of the rock, but I got a few. Take paying customers, you need your captain's license. It doesn't matter how big or small your boat is. If people are giving you money to take them out fishing, on a boat tour, scuba diving, anything like that, you're gonna need your captain's license. But if you're a recreational boater and you're taking out friends or family, it doesn't matter how big or small your boat is, you do not need your captain's license. But I certainly recommend it. There's a ton I learned in sea school, and Tim's gonna break down a few more reasons as to why you need your captain's license.
The Coast Guard needs to know and needs to be able to certify the fact that you know what you're doing on the water, you can navigate on the water, that you know how to operate your vessel safely, you know how to care for all your paid customers who are aboard the vessel, CPR, all those sorts of things that go with it. Also, when you have your captain's license, there are certain benefits such as lower insurance premiums for your boat and so forth. So if you want to be taking paying customers aboard your vessel, you need to be Coast Guard certified, plain and simple.
Exactly. So as we said, paying customers only, you got to have your captain's license, and there's different grades of the captain's license. Today we're going to be talking about your 6-pack, also known as OUPV. This allows you to take up to 6 people on your boat and a boat lesser than 50 tons, right?
Yeah, OUPV.
All right, so there's several ways for you guys to get your captain's license. I personally went to sea school. I also recommended that Tim went to sea school. Sea school is a great little operation. They've been around for years. I went about 15 years ago, and I actually tell people it was a better experience for me in sea school than college. I went 4 years to a school here in Miami, pretty much learned nothing. In sea school, I was there for 2 weeks. I learned some awesome stuff that helps me in my day-to-day boating, whether I'm running a charter or just doing recreational boating. There was a lot of useful stuff in sea school that I learned that was hands-on and I couldn't learn online. Back then we didn't really have online schools, but now you got a lot more options. There's all these other mariner schools out there, so I'll put some links in the description here so you guys can check out those other schools, or you can go right down to Coast Guard's training and take the exams right there at Coast Guard, pay less money, study on your own. I don't recommend it, but that's another option. Tim, tell us how sea school was for you.
So sea school was great. Not only was the instruction great, they help you with the test, they help you understand the concepts, but they also give advice and other consulting that you're not going to be able to get on your own. When I first started, I took just the sea school online classes, was doing it at home, didn't think I really needed their help. I got to tell you, unless you're a self-starter and you know exactly what you're doing going in, the online piece it's a bit of a challenge.
And I told him, like, he told me he was busy, he's got family, he's got a lot of work stuff, so he tried to squeeze it in online. I said, listen, man, you're never going to find the time to sit down and study because there is a lot to learn. The Coast Guard wants you to know the rules of the road, the navigation, the charting. They want you to know all that stuff before they give somebody just a captain's license. So learning online at your own pace might work for some, but it's a very small percentage. You got to go to school, it's hands-on. And the best part about it is the instructors. There's nothing like a good teacher, right? Putting it in your brain and making you learn that stuff.
Right, and these instructors, they're seeing the tests as they come up. They see that the tests change periodically. And quite honestly, the Coast Guard tries to trip you up on some of the questions. The instructors knew what was coming. They prepare you for it. I mean, they have little tips and tricks that you can use. It was well worth it to be there. Plus, there's no distractions, being at home, trying to do it online. The chart plotting was especially helpful. To do that on your own, unless you've plotted before on a chart, going into the classroom setting at sea school or any of these other operations is the way to go. Absolutely recommend it.
Right. So So when you're in C school, they're going to give you 4 parts to study for, and they're going to prep you really well for it. If you're studying on your own, you still got to take these 4 parts. If you're doing it in an app, online, it's always the same 4 parts. So Tim's going to explain to you those 4 parts and the percentage you need to pass each of those parts. Here you go.
So at least in the case of C school, first thing is you've got to have classroom time, right? And the classroom time is when you study all the aspects of the Coast Guard test or the Coast Guard exam. And for me, at least, it was 6 full days of classes. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So there is a time commitment, just to let you guys know. But you need to complete hours in the classroom as part of your Coast Guard certification. So what are you doing in the classroom? You're learning how to take and to pass the Coast Guard exam, which is 4 parts, okay? There are 2 parts to the exam that you need a 90% or better in order to pass. The rules of the road and chart plotting, okay? There are 2 other sides to the exam that are called Deck General and Nav General. Those aren't nearly as critical. You can get a 70% or better to pass those. Deck General involves tying knots and dock lines, what side of the boat to tie up to, where to put your spring line. And then you got Nav General, weather conditions, tides, what causes tides, literally some of the general information that you're going to need, currents, all that good stuff, right? But what gives folks the most heartache when they're trying to pass their exam are the rules of the road and the chart plotting, the navigation. You can see behind us we've got a chart here. Again, going back to what Mike said earlier about why you go into C school or go into the classroom setting versus doing it online, having someone instruct you and guide you on hands-on method of chart plotting is invaluable. It's something that you're going to have a difficult time doing on your own. When you've got someone that can literally walk you through how to chart plot, that's the way to go. Remember, you need a 90% on that part of your exam. There's only 10 questions, guys. I'm not a math major, but I think you can only miss 1.
And that's pretty important. The Coast Guard says you need 90%. That means they really want their Coast Guard approved captains to know this stuff. If you're able to get away with a 70% on the other sections, but you need a 90% on the rules of the road and the chart plotting, they want you to know the rules of the road. That means they don't want any collisions out there. They want you to know how to navigate the waterways, work those channels, know which way boats are going, navigating at night, all that important stuff. So they want you to have a 90% on that. I mean, you might as well get 100% on it. You guys need to know all that stuff.
Some of you guys might be saying, well, what do I need chart plotting for? I've got a GPS in the boat, I've got a handheld GPS, this, that, and the other. Anybody ever lost their electronics on the boat? Anybody had their batteries go bad or melt inside their handheld GPS while it's sitting in your ditch bag?
Yeah.
You need to know this stuff so that you can get yourself back and your clients. Remember, you're responsible for everybody on board. You have to know how to respond to contingencies and emergencies. So that's why you really need to know the chart plotting and the navigation, and as well as the rules of the road. Know how to operate your vessel in inland waterways, offshore waterways, channel markers, how to pass boats, what horn signals you need, limited visibility, fog, reduced lighting conditions. You need to know what to do. You need to know how to keep your boat lit. It all comes down to keeping your clients and yourself safe on your vessel and getting them back in one piece.
All right, so now you know exactly what you need to study, but you are not done. You passed your exams. There's a lot more to the captain's license, and that's why a company like C School is awesome, because they help prepare you and tell you exactly what you need, but we're going to go ahead and break it down for you. Starting with the drug test. It's not just any drug test. It is a Coast Guard approved drug test. They test for all the hardcore stuff, marijuana, cocaine. I mean, it's like a legit drug test. I think it's still just a P test.
It is, but the good news is you can go to just about anybody. You go to your personal physician, you can go to MD Now, any accredited physician, but with all the MD Now and other small clinics that are out there, you can get in there without an appointment, get your drug screening done, and be on your way. So that's one key part. Remember, we're just gathering all this information that's required for the application to the Coast Guard, and the drug screening is just one piece.
You passed your drug test, now you need a TWiT card. What the heck is the TWiT card? I had to go through this twice. Tim's got his right here. What does this stand for, Tim?
Transportation Workers Identification Credential. This is part of the U.S. Coast Guard requirement. It's part of the application. You need to be certified and you need to be vetted, basically, with your TWiT card.
Basically, it's a security measure. They don't want unidentified people going into ports and stuff like that. So this kind of gives every Coast Guard approved captain that kind of credibility. All right, the United States Coast Guard wants you to be somewhat in shape. You need to be able to see. So there is a physical and vision exam. Tim, tell us, you just did one, right? So tell us how that went.
Just go to your physician. It's just a routine physical. I mean, the Coast Guard has their own sheet of what the boxes that they need to check, but basically you need to have adequate vision and be adequate physical condition to care for your paying customers that are aboard your vessel. Your doctor will know what to do. In your application packet, again, what other entity you go to, whether it's Sea School or anybody else, they'll give you the documentation. You literally hand it to your doctor, have the physical exam, vision exam, and you're done. Pretty easy. Usually about $50 to get it done. I mean, it might be even cheaper if you've got medical insurance. Okay, another thing that you're going to need to provide as part of your Coast Guard application is going to be CPR training and first aid training. Makes perfect sense, right? You've got paying customers on the water, someone gets hurt, happens more often than you think. You need to know what to do. If someone's having a heart attack, if someone's choking, God forbid any of that stuff happens, you need to know how to respond. Remember, you're the captain, you're in charge, you're responsible for anybody on board. Myself, I just took the Red Cross CPR and first aid class. The cost on that was a little bit under $100. Basically you burn a day to do it, and it's good to have anyways. You have a certification card that you keep with you. It's part of the application process, guys. You need to get it done.
And that should be a requirement for just being a human being. That's good stuff to just know. You never know when you're going to need to use it. I hope that you guys never have to use it, but that's something that we all should know how to do. And when I renewed my captain's license, I did not have to do first aid and CPR again. So I found that interesting. So another requirement by the United States Coast Guard is that you have to have documented time on a vessel. They're just not going to give a captain's license to somebody that's able to pass the exams, going to school, study, and that's it. You need to show experience on a vessel. And for that, you need to show 360 days total. You need to have 90 of those days offshore and also 90 of those days in the past 3 years. And that's for your OUPV 6-pack license. Now, if you're upgrading to the 100-ton, you need more days than that on a bigger vessel, but today we're just talking about the 6-pack. So again, you need 360 days, and 90 of those need to be in the past 3 years. And this is Captain's Honor System, guys. So when you're filling this out, try to be as accurate as possible. Whether you're on your own boat, a family member's boat, 1 day on a boat equals 4 hours. So as long as you're on a boat for 4 hours, that's 1 day, you're good.
Right, so the form is going to look a little bit like this, where you can fill out the years, each year and each month, and then the number of days that you spend on the water. It's actually pretty simple after you do a couple of them. And just know too, if it's on your vessel that you own, all you have to do is provide proof of that you own the vessel. So a certificate of title as part of your package. If it was not your vessel, you need to get the captain or the owner of that vessel to sign a document to basically attest to the fact that you have been on that vessel operating it, or with some kind of a role operating the vessel during those days. That's it.
All right, so there's a lot of benefits in getting your captain's license I just want to go through real quick, and Tim's going to explain to you a little bit as well. But here's some that we found, and we're going to start with your boat insurance. Tim, tell us about it.
So you're going to see a reduced premium on your boat insurance if you have any kind of on-the-water training or classes. Captain's license is the best way to get the maximum amount of savings on your insurance premium because you're a captain.
You're less risky.
Much
right?
less risky. You should know exactly what you're doing out on the water. Insurance carriers, they want to mitigate risk. You being a captain, a certified Coast Guard captain, certainly mitigates that risk to a great degree.
The main benefit of getting your captain's license is that now you can take paying customers. You can operate a business, whether you're a fishing guide here like Tim, or you're doing scuba tours, you're doing eco tours, you're just taking people around for cruises, sunset cruises. You can do that legally now. You can take people out, exchange for cash, take them on your boat, and you're going to be able to run a nice little business doing that.
Right.
All right, so that is how to get your captain's license. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm Captain Mike with ReelReports.com. This is Captain Tim with Twinstigator Charters. If you guys like this video, please hit that thumbs up down below. Also, subscribe to the channel. We got a lot more fishing stuff, a lot more how-to, a lot more boating videos coming out, a lot of great content. tight lines, and good fishing.
Go get them.
So when you're in yeah, that was good.
Ski school.
Ski school. All right. So when you're